Hey guys, it's Ben with FoxValleyFoodie.com, and today we are going to take a look at how to make my brown sugar meatloaf. Now, with any meatloaf, the key obviously is the beef that you use. We're using 80-20 ground beef. You can go leaner if you want it to be healthier, but don't go leaner if you think it's going to taste better, because it won't. 80-20 is where you want to be. Now, I like using the fresh ground beef where you can still see the lines from the meat grinder running through it. I find it crumbles better, so you can incorporate all the rest of the ingredients more easily without smushing and smearing the meat. To begin, let's start by making the sauce, shall we? We're going to take a half cup of ketchup, combine it with a quarter cup of brown sugar, and take a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar, and simply mix this together to create the sauce that's going to go on top of your meatloaf and in the pan. Okay, we got our sauce prepared. Now let's crumble our ground beef. You're just going to gently work it with your fingers to break it apart so that you can easily mix the rest of the ingredients into it. So just crumble it gently into a large bowl. When it's done, we're going to sprinkle the breadcrumbs on top and move on. There's a few key components to making any good meatloaf. The breadcrumbs that we added are there to make the meatloaf tender. Now we're going to add about 1 cup of milk. The milk is going to add some moisture to your meatloaf. The breadcrumbs are going to soak it up. Then we have 1 egg that's going to serve as a binder that holds everything together. And now we need to add some flavorings. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now let's add a quarter teaspoon of fresh ground pepper, which I already have measured out here. 1 teaspoon of table salt. And then last but not least, our secret ingredient, which is onion soup mix. I got this idea from my father-in-law, who likes mixing it in with his burgers, and they taste pretty good. I thought that would make a pretty good meatloaf ingredient as well, and turns out a lot of people agreed with me. Okay guys, well, you weren't looking, I cleaned up a little bit, and now we're ready to go for our final push. We have our ground beef and breadcrumbs ready to go. We have our milk, egg, and seasonings ready to go. So let's just mix those up real quickly to incorporate. The reason we're doing it in a separate dish is then it will blend in better with the meatloaf when you pour it all in. If you did this separately, you would have to work the meat extra hard to make sure that it's all blended together, and you might overwork the meat, causing it to be more dense than it needs to be. So get in there real nice and good with your fingers and just kind of work it around a little bit to incorporate everything together. The key is not to overwork the meat, you just want to blend it in together. Okay, we're ready to put it all together now, but first a quick tip. I like lining a bread pan with aluminum foil, or parchment paper works as well. It makes removing the meatloaf when it's done cooking so much easier. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Alright, let's start by just taking a few spoonfuls of your sauce, lining the bottom of the bread pan with it. That creates a little bit of separation for the meat when it cooks, so all the meat doesn't cling to the bottom of the pan. And then just spread that around real quickly with a spoon. And then you can take all the meat that you mix together and just glop it in the pan. I love the word glop, it sounds so appetizing, doesn't it? Okay, then press it down firmly with your hands and form it into a loaf. Okay, now we simply need to stick this in the oven at 350 degrees. Should be done in about 1 hour and 10 minutes, typically for me. Now, a little quick tip I learned from Julia Child. Always keep a spare meatloaf in your cupboard so that you don't have to wait so long for dinner. Bon appetit!